Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. My name's ODPixel. I'm here with my co-caster today, Mike Caloris. We're going to be covering the best of two, the two series game between MiTH Trust and Arcanys Gaming. Mike, how are you doing? Are you there?
I am indeed there. Hopefully everything sounds all right, and we'll be able to get through this game without a hitch. Typically, the C games are actually pretty good as far as getting off the ground in a reasonable clip, but we'll see what happens in this game. It's looking like the bans are going to be fairly normal. Garth Mage going to be the first pick, but MiTH Trust, they have some very powerful options open up towards them. Maybe we're going to see some Ogre, maybe not. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. I'm coming straight out with the Skyraff, yeah. Ogre still in the pit. And first ban Naga. I mean, I guess it's kind of these Asian teams, they do favour kind of the Naga in that very greedy role that we do see quite regularly. And Batrider first ban as well. I mean, that is a hero that I believe we did see actually earlier when I was casting with Couch. MiTH played the Batrider very well, so knocking that one out this time, Arc. And the Death Prophet ban as well. As you said, nothing too surprising so far. First pick for MiTH. They're going to come out with the Razor and then straight into the Centaur. So denying Arc that Skyraff Centaur combination there.
So MiTH Trust looks like they want to be a little bit more aggressive this game. Obviously, when you pick up a Centaur, you kind of have to be. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of potential. But the combo with these two heroes, MiTH Trust, they probably won't work with these two heroes too much early on in lane. Like, they usually go to separate lanes and don't play together at all. But come later on, Stampede is freaking amazing with Razor. You could keep up with your targets with the static link, with the Eye of the Storm. Make sure that your plasma field is always hitting on the edge, and then you could set up for a couple of stomp combos. So MiTH Trust with two very solid heroes, very tanky heroes as well. So Arcanys, they have to make sure to pick up lots of damage.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. You're right, yeah. It can work, but they do need to pick up a lot of damage to deal with the Razor and the Centaur. As you said, Centaur is almost certainly going to be tanking up. Might even go for the Vanguard and progress into Crimson, but maybe even more likely just tanking up with even something like a Shivas at a later point, just to jump in and to kind of force the side of Arc to spread out. I mean, Skyraff Mage, it's a fair amount of high damage, but it's not going to be enough to deal with these tankier ones. They're going to pick up a tanky hero for themselves. They grab themselves the Tide Hunter. I mean, Tide Hunter, he's a decent offlaner. But I kind of feel like Centaur is the more kind of vital key core hero to have in your lineup. Tide Hunter, I mean, what's your thoughts on the Tide Hunter?
10 seconds.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much spot on. I would rather, given the choice, have a Centaur on my team than a Tide Hunter. But I think what Arcanys are thinking is that most likely the matchup that they want to have happen is Centaur versus Tide.
Yeah.
And in that regard, Tide Hunter gets a lot better since he is usually able to handle the Centaur in lane.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah, if they do line it up like that. So, I mean, with that bearing in mind, so that's probably more likely. So Arc kind of predicting that it is going to be... I mean, do you think they're going to be playing it as if it's going to be a safe lane Centaur? Or do you think they're going to predict that the Centaur will go straight to the off lane and then put the Tide into solo safe and then run Skyraff in kind of aggressive tri-lane situation?
Well, I think so far they are going to assume the Centaur is offlane until they see a reason for something else. I mean, they have a Skyrath Mage already, so Arcanys, whether they want to run the Tide Hunter as an offlane solo hero or as a safe lane solo hero, doesn't really matter because Skyrath Mage can do either role. Like, Skyrath Mage can be aggressive if need be, or he could just sit back and do the pulling. So it's just going to be them waiting and seeing what MiTH Trust want to do. As with the Razor, the lanes aren't really too clear. Razor kind of can do the same thing as Skyrath, go for any role he could possibly want, or just go to the mid lane. So it's going to be Arcanys up to be reactive, and MiTH Trust to pretty much stay the course and pick up whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it certainly seems like Arcanys playing on that kind of foot at the moment. Viper's going to get banned out by MiTH Trust as well. Anti-Mage ban from Arcanys. I mean, that's another ban that we've seen a little bit more regularly. I mean, he's seen a few games recently competitively, but I mean, is Anti-Mage really that strong in this kind of meta? I mean, it's obviously a huge period of time where he was totally phased out. You'd never think of him being banned at this level of play, but apparently so. I mean, he was banned earlier today, and he's banned yet again. I mean, do you think Anti-Mage really has that higher chance of popping up in these drafts?
They'll definitely a lot more than like a couple months ago, but I think mostly it's because Medusa's getting so popular. Anti-Mage is getting a lot more popular because of that, and also hyper carries in general are becoming more popular. So, I mean, you could ban out an Anti-Mage, or you could choose to ban out a Spectre. The most clear thing is that Arcanys might be setting themselves up for a Medusa pick, which would work pretty well against MiTH Trust right now, but that doesn't have to be the case.
Actually, yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, they might be thinking about the Medusa for themselves. Yeah, we worked nicely with the Titans. Absolutely, just getting that huge heavy lockdown and then being able to break in. And obviously the Ravage, just the stun duration, that gives a good amount of time for the Medusa to get in place with the Stone Gaze. And pretty much, I'm not quite sure on the timing, but it almost certainly ensures that they are going to get turned to stone. MiTH Trust coming out with the Earthshaker, so their own kind of big initiator team player for themselves to kind of go up against the Tidehunter. I mean, both heroes got huge initiations. Earthshaker's effectively going to hit a little bit harder with the whole stun combo. And there you go. You bang on, Mike. They're going to pick the Medusa up for themselves. And yeah, you're right. It's going to work very nicely with their team pickup. But then again, you know, MiTH, they've got very tanky heroes. And surely Medusa's not really going to be able to dent them until she gets a lot of items under her belt.
And she has to worry about a lot of initiation as well. Like being jumped upon by a centaur and an earthshaker is scary business for a hero, especially if you, for whatever reason, don't have your mana shield up. Then you're just going to go down so quickly. Also, Razor is pretty good against Medusa, who is generally a little bit lighter on the damage and relies more on staying in the fights for her damage output. When you drain out her damage static link, then suddenly she's not as happy anymore. So, I mean, it's a good hero if they could protect her and if they could give her enough space. And Arcanys, they're going to have to draft in such a way to allow that, or they could just try to put all shields up and just try to turtle it out, which is another way to go, but I think it's a lot more punishable.
Yeah, they could certainly try and turtle it. But yeah, I mean, when you're picking heroes like the Centaur, Razor, and even the Earthshaker, you know, heroes that can be very aggressive towards the earlier point, and as you said, there's going to be a lot of initiation and abilities to jump in and lock down on this Medusa, and it's going to make it hard for her. I mean, obviously with the Tidehunter, it's quite a good turtling hero, but they definitely need to kind of make their lineup a little bit more suited to the playstyle if they want to kind of go for that 4 protect 1 strategy and just focus on getting the Medusa through to the late game and just get the game in general to the late game, ensuring that MiTH aren't able to punish them for their greediness. And then perhaps the Medusa pick could work out for them indeed. And I mean, obviously with the Medusa now picked, you know, you are kind of showing your hand pretty clearly. What do you think MiTH should do in response to this?
Well, the bare minimum is go aggressive. Right now, they only have the Earthshaker, so they would want to pick up, ideally, another ranged support hero. As far as aggressive ranged supports go, you could always pick up something like a Vengeful and be happy with that, or you could get a Rubik, knowing there's a Tidehunter on the other end, or just go Ancient Apparition. That's good too. I'm inclined to think now MiTH Trust are going to be running an offensive tri-lane with AA, Shaker, and Razor. That's pretty deadly, and if you run it into a Medusa, then you should be able to win that matchup. So MiTH Trust, they are going to be going aggressive. They need one more core hero, and as long as it's a core hero that is not going to sit in lane and do nothing, then they should be fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. They could definitely run it aggressive, and I think that's the best thing to do. I mean, obviously, you kind of forfeit that lane where you are going to have the Centaur then up against the Tidehunter, but, I mean, it's not an awful lane for the Centaur. It is just going to be hard for him to get the farm and get the quick Blink Dagger, but he should still be able to get the levels all right and get something out the lane no less. And, well, Arcanys, they're going to pick themselves up an Enigma, so a great synergy with the Medusa and the Tidehunter, of course. But, I mean, picking Enigma, obviously, you're up against an Earthshaker, and unless you get that quick BKB, it's going to be a very simple Fissure to shut down the Black Hole.
And not only just the Black Hole, like Enigma in the early stages would generally like to jungle. He'll occasionally roam out from time to time, but he's not going to provide a very active support role for Arcanys. And with your Medusa, you want to provide very active supports for her to hide behind, to her to rely upon, to chip down the enemies. Enigma is not that hero. Yes, you do get a lot of AoE wombo combo later, but what Arcanys have to be concerned about is surviving the early game. And Enigma, I don't think is that hero. Like, you need someone to actually stick in the lane and make sure Medusa is going to be all right, especially if you're going to be up against an aggressive lane from MiTH. So this Enigma, I think, might be a little bit too greedy for Arcanys. They might get punished for this.
Yeah, I think you're bang on. It's a very greedy pick, yeah, when you look at it like that. And yeah, it's going to be the Medusa defended up by the Scarif Mage. I mean, Scarif, great support at zoning, especially zoning solo offlaners, but when put against a potentially aggressive tri-lane from MiTH, it's really not going to be that easy at all for the Scarif to protect the Medusa. I mean, if I were them, I guess they're kind of crossing their fingers and hoping that it is going to be a center offlane. MiTH, they're going to go ahead and pick a Rubik. Right, now, you've obviously cast him, well, I assume you've cast him MiTH before. Well, what are they doing here, Mike? What is the plan?
I have no freaking clue, man. I've casted MiTH before, yeah, but I've never seen this before. Well, Well, right now they have Rubik, Ancient Apparition, and Earthshaker. 3 heroes that are typically regarded as quote-unquote support heroes. And it might be going to them giving Earthshaker core amounts of farm, which is a possibility. Rubik mid, Ancient Apparition mid, it's possible, but not really what you want to be doing. Arcanys, they're going to slam the Silencer as their last, so their team fight is 100% on lockdown. But MiTH, I mean, this is a very aggressive play. When you pick up 3 support heroes like this, you are going to be playing as if you are on a clock. And MiTH Trust, they have a Razor for late game, but for the most part, they are, in fact, on a clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, yeah, as the clock starts to tick, I mean, Arcanys, they are going to have a very, very strong position to be playing from. But anyway, let's get ourselves into the game. I'm going to introduce Arcanys, and I'll let you try and work out what's going on the side of MiTH whilst I do so, Mike. And so anyway, on the side of Arcanys, we're going to have Fried Butterflies. He's going to be playing on the support Scarif. It's going to be a defensive dual lane, of course, with the Medusa. There's going to be Bok on the off-lane Tidehunter. Mid lane is going to be played by Heinrich on the Silencer. It's going to be Boombacks on that Enigma jungle. And, of course, Mighty Saviour Abby on the carry Medusa. So, Mike, what is going on the side of MiTH?
Well, currently the Centaur is going to be played by HeHe. Is going to go towards the bottom lane with SD on the Ancient Apparition, Gotcha on the Rubik. So it looks like it is going to be solo mid Shaker being played by MyPro. That leads up towards top Lakells against the Tidehunter. And the Razor should have a very good time here. As far as matchups go, Razor is probably not going to lose many lanes, and especially in a 1v1 lane, it's going to be the same thing. The Rubik AA and Centaur combination, that's actually pretty freaking aggressive. Like, SD with Chilling Touch is going to be very good now that he has another ranged hero to work with. Also, being able to pull someone into a hoof stomp is deadly as all hell. So the Medusa is going to be under quite a bit of pressure, and I don't know if Fried Butterflies has enough support power to make sure that their Medusa doesn't die, especially with MiTH playing this sneaky. You don't see this normally, but they're going for a level 1 First Blood.
Yeah, this is going to be such a hard lane for the Medusa. I mean, MiTH, they seem to have kind of built their team entirely around shutting this game down at the earlier points. And I mean, without the Medusa, there isn't a lot for Arcanys to stand on. I mean, yeah, they do still have the Silencer in the mid role, who can transition quite nicely into a very hard-hitting mid-game semi-carry. And talking about the Silencer in the mid lane against this Earthshaker, he shouldn't have that bad a time at all, this Silencer. I think it's going to be hard for the Earthshaker in this mid matchup.
Yeah, the Curse of the Silence is going to be very annoying. You can get rid of that with Enchant Totem fairly easily, but that and Glaives of Wisdom Harass, like, it is just a melee versus range matchup, and that's not good for Earthshakers in general. They're going to start opening up in the bottom lane, though. Butterflies going to get lifted up into the air. Centaur's nowhere close. Concussor Shot might buy him enough space. One more right click, though, with that Chilling Touch. So much damage, and that's going to be First Blood. Drawn by Gotcha. So easily done, and really, you don't expect the enemies to be that deep into your jungle.
No, absolutely not. It's going to be a nightmare for this Medusa, especially if they keep being able to pick off the Scarif Mage. And mid lane, MyPro were taking a lot of harassment there from the Silencer. I mean, we see him now, he's down to no mana at all, pretty much. Only 170 life points, and he was going straight for the bottle. He has managed to get it, and it is on its way, so he will be safe in that regards. But still, he's going to be able to be very, very careful in this mid lane, especially until he picks up that point in Enchant Totem. And he actually went for the second point in passive, and I would have thought, as you would have said, you know, get the Enchant Totem and sort it as soon as you can just to nullify the effects of Curse of the Silent. AA trying to do his best at just messing around in the jungle, trying to disrupt the Enigma's farm, and that's going to be a slight annoyance for him. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, still standing strong, Gotcha and HeHe doing as much as they can to shut down the last hits of this Medusa. And having a look at the last hits at the moment, it's Centaur on 8, and Medusa's only managed to find one out of this lane, and they're going in again. Here we go. Oh my jeez, that is one dead Medusa. I mean, I'd say change your lanes up, but I think you kind of need to change your draft up, because this is looking pretty nasty for Arcanys. I mean, how do they find the farm for this Medusa? What's the plan? What do they do?
I think they just have to stack the jungle up as much as they can and hope to God that MiTH Trust don't jack those creeps, because you can, I guess, switch your tri lane up to the top lane, put your Tidehunter down there, but there's already a level 3 Razor. He is going to be completely okay going against Medusa and a Scarif Mage, who are level 1 and level 2. At this point, it's MiTH Trust who have already just dominated the lane. Like, the lanes have flowed out in a way that MiTH have exactly planned out, with the exception of mid lane, which I think they were kind of just stuck with the Earthshaker pickup, which kind of sucks, but Silencer is not that a terrifying late game hero if you could keep him down somewhat. But as long as MiTH just keep applying this pressure, then really Arcanys don't really have that many options. They're going to go in yet again. Fried Butterflies is not going to get thrown back, however. Gotcha. Messing that one up just a little bit, but really this Enigma pickup needs to be really successful. The Silencer needs to be getting kills in the Earthshaker, but right now Earthshaker actually putting a lot of damage onto the Silencer, so they're trading blow for blow over on the mid lane, and that just means that MiTH just have more operational lanes, and when you have better lanes, then it generally means you're going to have a better mid game, and I expect to see that, in 15-20 minutes.
Look at this mid lane. They're trying to find the Enigma. They're going to find him. They're going to get the slow with the freezing field. They're not going to go for the telekinesis, in fact. And it did, in fact, look like Enigma was going to attempt to head into the middle lane, maybe to help. But that's going to be shut down now. It's been spotted out by the side of MiTH with SD and Gotcha on the roam. And the Juice are playing a little bit more aggressively now. Now she knows that the supports are in the jungle. And has got the Scarif in between her and the last position that they spotted the supports in. So she was able to go out and get a few last hits. But again, sitting on just 10. Centaur on 17 still at the moment. This Razor, of course, on the top lane, absolutely dominating the lane. In fact, might even have a look at taking a go here on bot. Getting a nice static link. It's level 3 and there's level 2 as well in the plasma field. And a few right clicks. This is going to be a kill. And yeah, Razor cleans up the Tide Hunter in a lane that, to be fair, was expected to pretty much go exactly like that. Gotcha taking a little bit of harassment from the Scarif Mage. And we're going to have a quick pause. But so far, I mean, I think MiTH will be very happy with how this game started up, won't they?
Yeah, I don't think they could be really any happier. Maybe they could, would have hoped that Arcanys would have picked up something like an Ember Spirit for their mid lane, and
yes,
maybe MyPro would have a little bit of a better time there. But Shaker, he's getting his levels. Like, he's not being completely zoned out. He is a little bit behind the Silencer for sure, but that's, again, to be expected. So Shaker is going to be taking a huge spike of power once he gets his Blink Dagger. Same thing for the Centaur. So MiTH, the very early game is going so well for them, and because of that, they're going to have their Blink Daggers earlier. The Medusa is going to have nothing. The Global Silence is going to come up soon, but the Ravage, they have to do so much work right now for Arcanys, as SD and Gotcha, they're just not stopping this roam, and with the Haste Rune, I think the pain is going to continue. They have Chilling Touch available, and if they get a lift onto anyone, I'm pretty sure they're just dead.
Absolutely. I mean, there are 3 heroes here, but Enigma didn't have the best start in the jungle, so he's not too scary. Scarif's they're going to be there as well. He's looking for the telekinesis. In fact, he's going to go straight past the Scarif. They've got their heart set on the Medusa. Pick him up, get the Hoof Stomp. There is the Mana Shield negating a fair bit of damage. They try and turn it around now. And in fact, MiTH, they are going to have to back up, and they're not going to find anything from this gap. Gank Boomback's coming into the lane. He's looking for Malefice, but he's not going to be able to find it for the time being, and he's just going to take some Eidolons away from the creep wave. And there's a nice little attempt with the Haste Rune going straight on the Medusa, but has got 2 points in that Mana Shield, of course, now, and it does help her, negate a fair amount of this harassment coming out, even with the buffs such as Chilling Touch. So a little bit harder to kill her, but she was lucky to have the Scarif and the Enigma alongside. Perhaps without the 2 supports coming into the lane to help her out there, she could have been in a little bit of a worse position, but for the time being she'll be fine with that. And, I mean, yeah, talking about obviously the Blink Dagger and that, having the fact that this Earthshaker's mid, we can almost certainly expect to see the Earthshaker pick up the Blink Dagger before Arcanys Tide does, and that's obviously going to give MiTH the initiation at an earlier stage, and that's exactly what they want. They want to jump in on this Medusa, they want to burst her down, they want to ensure that she is minimized in terms of farm. And you said, obviously, stacking the jungle would be nice, but of course at the same time he's just got this Enigma going around clearing all the camps, so just the kind of just all the different outlets for farm are going to be heavily contested between the Arcanys' own members. Now we're going to see a smoke gank from SD and Gotcha heading towards the mid lane as Silencer actually goes pretty deep. Shaker's very low. They might look to use him to bait here, but at the same time they do need to be careful because, I mean, a few Glaives of Wisdom could easily cut down this Earthshaker. And I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to find anything here. I mean, Earthshaker has nothing to contribute to this gank. Heinrich on the Silencer, he's going to go look for the top rune, and this could be a little bit of a disaster here, but do they have enough damage? I mean, well, Chilling Touch is level 2, so this could be perhaps more than enough. He pops the stick charges, they need one more right click, they're going to get the slow from Freezing Field, and there we go. Gank successful, the supports make a long journey, but at the end of the day it's worth it, and that's going to buy Earthshaker the time he needed, and he was able to go and claim that bottom rune and get his bottle back up, and yeah, nice little bit of movement and rotation there from the supports on MiTH.
My god, Chilling Touch is just such a fantastic skill when you have 2 ranged heroes. Like, you're going to be able to demolish anyone on Arcanys, maybe with the exception of Tidehunter if he lands an Anchor Smash, but I mean, they just demolished that Silencer, and it was so easy. The Earthshaker wasn't there, unfortunately. He couldn't reap the benefits of Kill Assist Gold or anything like that, but once again, these supports are doing so very well, and when you compare them to the Arcanys supports, Enigma, he's hit level 5, and the Scarif Mage is still on level 3, the Enigma's actually farming kind of slowly at the moment. I guess he has to worry about lots of potential rotations in, but right now Arcanys don't really have anything going for them, especially after that Silencer death. Like, Tidehunter is not doing well in his lane. The Silencer is doing the best, but he's gankable, clearly, so he's not going to be able to continue on with his laning phase as per normal. MiTH, I don't know, they just have everything going for them, and as long as they make sure to address the Enigma, and they should because they have a Rubik, and that's very easy to address the Enigma, and a Shaker with Fissure, then come mid-game, then it's going to be just easier and easier. Boombax is in quite a bit of trouble. You don't want to be there. Centaur has a Stampede. He's going to get thrown an Enigma. Stampede now as he does land. No Hoof Stomp, actually. Doesn't have enough mana. He's going to think about going for the double edges. He's instead going to settle for going for Fried Butterflies. They're going to take both of those kills. In fact, Abby's going to try to kill off Gotcha, but this Medusa doesn't have any damage items. He's going to try to turn around and go for this Medusa as SD is being chased down by a Tidehunter. Ravage not available. Double Edge is going to end up killing the Centaur. I guess underestimating mana shield, and still SD's being chased down by Bach. Needs another Gush to kill off this AA, but here comes Silencer to help out. They're going to dive and Echo Slam that Medusa on the bottom lane, and now MyPro is pretty much all alone, going to try to turn around and kill off the Skywrath Mage, but he's going to get Malphist, and he's going to be dropping. That's going to be about it. Everyone else from MiTH is going to get away or die, and it's going to be probably the best fight that Arcanys can possibly hope for, but still MiTH hold a pretty nice kill score advantage.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, MiTH may be going a little bit too far there for the Medusa kill. They do get it, but it was a little bit messy, and they throw away a few heroes in the wake of that fight. And yeah, they get themselves on the kill. KD board at the moment, but yeah, as you said, MiTH still with the really kind of generous lead at the moment, 7-3 at the moment. And Arcanys, though, they are going to look to push this with the Eidolons. Coming in with the Fey Bolt, removing that damage. In trouble as Ravage comes through very nicely, and Mystic Snake there helping finish off the Rubik. They do lose the Enigma though in that, and now Earthshaker blocking them up with a very nice Fissure. Global Silence comes in, but at the same time, Earthshaker chasing down the Medusa. Tidehunter being chased by the Razor, the Centaur Warren and the AA, and Earthshaker will go down. And well, it's again a couple more heroes dying on each side, as the Medusa, the Tidehunter, and the Earthshaker fall respectively. 5-10. Arcanys don't get the tower, and yeah, but they were kind of giving away a little bit of the advantage they created from that first team fight, and Arcanys left with the Scarf Mage and the Silencer holding back very defensively. As yeah, it was a pretty good fight there for Hehe after one that was generally going the way of the side of Arcanys. It's 10-5 now on the board, and towers are defended.
So Earthshaker trading his life essentially for the Medusas. Ordinarily, I would say it's worth it, but in this case, I don't think it is. Like, Medusa's not really a problem hero right now, and killing her off isn't really going to be slowing her down any more than she already is, because he gave kills to the Silencer. I would say Silencer is a bigger threat, and of course he has that infinite scaling due to stealing your intelligence. So in that regard, MiTH trust they could have taken a better fight. They're going to try to go for the Enigma by just running at him with Stampede. That very rarely works, so it's going to continue to not work over towards mid. Razor was not in the first bottom lane fight, and he was there for the second, and really we could see the difference of just having another hero there. He doesn't have a Ravage for sure, but level 4 Plasma Field does do quite a bit of damage, and he is not going to go for a mech. This has been more and more popular to not go for mechs on Razors and Vipers. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's certainly a build that's certainly come to fruition quite recently, and yeah, I think mech's such a great item on a race, especially when you're running a kind of a team like MiTH are this game. You know, where you're going to be looking for this early aggression because you don't want to take it late, and you want to take these early fights, and a mech is going to be huge for your side. And this is at the same time when you are playing against a team who does have an Enigma who is going straight for the mechanism himself. And you know, with a mech on Enigma and no mech on your side, you're suddenly losing an early mid-game kind of team fight that you really need to be taking, because you've got no hope in the late game fights.
Yeah, so it's going to be Arcanys trying to push their intermediate advantage right now because they do have the Eidolons. And the mid lane tower is going to be taking a little bit of damage, but MiTH, they could jump on this soon enough. He is actually not too close to his Blink Daggers. 500 away. I would expect him to be closer, but Bonebax is going to get actually cornered. Now he's looking for a Black Hole with the Mystic Flare. That's a combo that'll kill off the Earthshaker. And suddenly, a Black Hole stolen. It's a very difficult skill to land, however, Gotcha. So I don't think that's going to be happening. Razor charging forward. Not going to get anything either. Global Silence and Black Hole and Mystic Flare all being committed, but it does get a kill and it does save their Enigma. So I think that's going to be worth it for Arcanys. However, that should mean that they don't want to push anymore. Although they do have a Tidehunter here, so maybe Ravage is strong enough. They do know that Rubik stole the Black Hole, but MiTH, MiTH need their Blink Daggers, and right now the Centaur is just not farming. They're going to Ravage onto Lakelz and SD. Ravage instantly stolen, but Silence, though. Rubik cannot cast that spell. Here comes Hehe. Going to double edge Boombacks. It's not going to kill him off. Need one more hit. They'll throw the Chilling Touch onto the Tide, but Rubik ends up going down without using his Ravage, I believe. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and it's once again going to be the Centaur not getting any of these kills. He needs these kills to get his Blink.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Centaur in terms of getting that Blink online, it's close, but it's not as early as he would have hoped it to be. And a bit of a messy fight there for both sides. And as you said, it was nice for the Rubik to steal the black hole, but it's so hard for him to find an opening to execute it in. And well, obviously, Titans are walking in with the Ravage. Had something to say about that, and very nice initiation there from Arcanys. And Titans, of course, he is going straight for the Blink. 800, well, hitting 900 now. Enigma, has he got that mech finished? He's very, very close. He's only about a couple hundred gold from finishing that off. And Shaker looking to do a bit of a push down here. It is only Savior Abbey on the Medusa at the moment, defending this tier 1, and Rubik coming in as well. TP is going to come in though from the Silencer, and they might be looking to take this fight, Arcanys. It's going to be hard for MiTH to find any kills because Medusa does have, well, she did have Stone Gaze. She's now out of mana. Oh no, she should get a little bit back. Yeah, she's going to be alright. She has Stone Gaze available if they decide to push anyway. So she should be able to hold the tower for the time being just against these two heroes. Mid lane, what is going on? You're going to get blown up from an Ice Blast. Poor old Enigma. Not quite sure what he was doing out there. Looks like he was looking for a bit of a push, but... Well, Centaur... In fact, was that the first time... Did he use the Blink Dagger for that? Did you catch that, Mike?
Shiny new Blink Dagger. Yeah. Very easy to jump in with an Ice Blast already flowing, and then you kill pretty much whoever you want at that stage. Right now we see a little bit of a problem for Arcanys in that they have a whole lot of ultimates with a very long cooldowns, Ravage, Global Silence, and Black Hole. Obviously, when you use them, you're going to be taking a decent fight, or you should be. However, once those are down, suddenly Arcanys don't have the power to do really much of anything, because Medusa can't put out sustained damage. They're going to try to go for it with only Global Silence, and they're going to silence up MyPro. There's a Stampede, and the lift up on the Scarith Mage is going to stun pretty much everyone. MyPro is going to die anyway, though. Silencer gets that kill with the last word. And the Earthshaker core, I don't think it's working out so far for MiTH, and now their bottom lane tier 1 is in a little bit of trouble. They have Blink for a Hoof Stomp, but with no Earthshaker to follow up, I don't know if they can get anything done. Ice Blast is going to land onto the Enigma. Blink forward, Hoof Stomp, double edge. That's an easy kill. Global Silence a little bit too late, and well, Lakelz wants to go in anyway. Even though he's silenced, he's going to go straight for the Silencer. Now has the Link, and now is going to beat him down. Easily done by the Razor. That's going to be 2-for-1. So far, Gotcha shouldn't be dying to this. No, he's going to, in fact, teleport back to the base. Tidehunter has his Ravage now, so Arcanys, they are once again staggering their ultimates, which is not really ideal if you're getting picked off like this.
No, absolutely not at all. And yeah, the Global Silence was kind of a desperation on it. They weren't really able to achieve anything, and they weren't even able to save anyone. And unfortunately, he was caught out in that initial kind of burst coming from him. But nonetheless, you know, the Tide found a little bit of farm in the top lane. It's only about a couple hundred gold away from his Blink Dagger, so he will have that available very, very soon. Looking at the Earthshaker's build, you know, he actually went for this treads first before finishing off the Blink, and he's on 1700, so he's going to have that fairly soon himself. But surprisingly, the Tide on the offlane, who didn't have the best of starts, is going to find his Blink Dagger first. So that was something that was kind of, you know, opted to go the way of MiTH, but somehow Arcanys, they found their way back into the game, and they found the Tide on top, and Tide leading the net worth in comparison to the Earthshaker mid, so having a very good game. And it's looking quite even across the net worth board. We do have Razor zooming ahead though on 7.7k, but then the next two highest net worth players, obviously both on the side of Arcanys, the Silencer and the Tidehunter. And hello Medusa, what are you going to do against a Razor? Oh, especially when he's level 12 now with 2 points in the Eye of the Storm. Goes straight in on the Medusa, and off the back of that they could push this.
I would not expect Lakelz to even try to go for those solo kills, but Medusa, I guess, lost the mana for Stone Gaze. They're going to jump onto Gotcha over towards mid. Stampede is going to buy the Rubik a little bit of space, but gets Malphus. And with a concussive landing, it's going to be Gotcha go down, although he's going to come in. Hoof Stomp onto 2. Ice Blast going to catch the Enigma, and that's going to kill him off. Meantime, he's silenced off to the edge, but it's going to be Lakelz to be the one to spear point this charge. Bak is going to throw the Ravage onto Lakelz, taking quite a bit of damage. The damage is going to be enough to kill the Tidehunter with double edge, though, and now the chilling onto everyone. They're slowed down, can't move. Hoof Stomp as well. MiTH just need more heroes right now. Where is the Shaker? He has his Blink Dagger with an Invis Rune, and he's going to look for a wraparound. SD is going to die to last word. That's going to be a given, but here comes the Shaker. Has an Echo Slam, and he should be using it on 2, although he's going to instead just double Enchant Totem, and then use the Echo Slam on the Silencer. So it was a slower kill, but they got the kill nonetheless. MiTH once again taking slightly better trades, and they actually did force out a Ravage there. So as long as they could keep forcing out these ultimates from Arcanys and taking better trades, then they're going to be just fine, and they have their Blink Daggers on the heroes that need them. So they're pretty much as powerful as they will get right now. I think they should be looking for more towers because they've only taken one.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They are getting to the point where they're almost certainly just peaking themselves as a team, especially compared to the Radiant side. And as you're right, they do need to take more towers. They have got a Razor, so great pushing power. But other than that, really, they don't have a lot of physical damage to take these towers down too quickly. And maybe that's a little bit of a flaw in their team composition, because, I mean, if you're not taking towers, you're not winning the game. And that's exactly what MiTH need to be doing at this point, because this Medusa, I mean, you know, didn't have the best start. She's finding a little bit of farm now. You know, she's top of the net worth for her team, and second overall. And even though she's only got the phase boots, the Ring of Aquila online, if the game goes later and later, she's going to be fine. But talking about being fine, she's not at this point in time as they're blinking. Global silence again, just a little bit too late, but maybe not. Medusa's trying to turn it around now. In fact, Tidehunter's here, hasn't got the Ravage though. I mean, are they going to be able to find a kill? Enigma does have a black hole if he fancies popping it. They're trying to get him range. Earthshake is still alive for the time being, trying to bash out as much as he can. Here comes Ray. Oh man, the turnaround. Rubik with the help of the Centaur coming back in. And well, there we have it. Didn't catch Silencer, who is in the tree line watching the side of MiTH. He's trying to chase them down. Gotcha. And MyPyro getting very, very low. In fact, MyPyro might die to the urn charges. Yes, he will. And in fact, Rubik goes down as well. Oh man, Silencer coming in at just the right time to clean up. But again, a pretty fairly even trade. You know, Arcanys had already lost a couple of heroes after Centaur did that nice reinitiation. But Silencer being able to find something off the back of that. Now Silencer trying to chase down AA. I mean, this damage is a little bit too much for the air to deal with. AA, is he going to tick out to this? Oh!
30 HP. He survives, and, well, Silencer is getting scarily huge. Like, he doesn't have that many items. He has only Power Treads, Urn of Shadows. For a 20-minute game is not that great. The Force Staff is incoming, so he'll be able to set up these solo kills with just going for the AA, but he's going to get blinked upon. Ice Blast is going to land as well. Ravage forced out, though. Black Hole opportunity for 2. Going to land on 2 as well. Now the Silencer's going to turn around, and that's 4 more intelligence for the Silencer. Now with plus 20, he's getting scary huge just because he's in the right places at the right times. And you were talking about how MiTH, they had kind of a lacking in their team comp. Well, it's going to be MyPro for now. Going to get jumped upon by Bach. He's going to get Anchor Smash, but he just unleashes combo. Bach taking a lot of damage from the Earthshaker. He will be able to slip away, though. MyPro now silenced and slowed. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. He will be dropping yet more intelligence. No, Silencer was just out of range for that one, but Earthshaker does go down. This Earthshaker pickup, as cute as it is to lane an Earthshaker mid, you can't do it if the enemy team has a stronger lane. It just will not work. So MiTH, they kind of jumped the gun with this pick, I think. So they kind of dug their own grave, and now they're certainly being punished. Arcanys, they've gotten over, for the most part, the hump of their bad early game. MiTH trust they had a gold advantage. It's slowly starting to creep back towards Arcanys, as they do have the Medusa, who's getting quite a bit of farm, and a Silencer who's going to be pretty much a one-man army. MiTH trust they need to act quickly, because they're very swiftly losing the lead that they had, and they don't have that much to get themselves back in aside from just fantastic initiation, which is possible, but really it's going to be unlikely with Global Silence, Black Hole, and Ravage that they're initiating into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, as you said, it's all sweet, the Earthshaker pickup, but you're picking it against a Silencer, Enigma, and Tidehunter, and they're going to have a few things to say when you come jumping straight in front of them, in their faces. And as you said, yeah, looking at the graphs, the turnaround, it's becoming apparent. I mean, you look at MiTH's side and you say, it's a great, strong team for an 18-minute game, and we've gone past that 18-minute point, and after the 18-minute point, you know, the net worth values and the XP earned are shooting back up towards Arcanys, and unless MiTH are able to find a lot of successful team fights, so I don't see it changing ground anytime soon. They are going to go and try and find Roshan, and in fact, it looks like they're probably going to get away with it. They did have a sentry here, so they know that Arcanys didn't have any vision. Arcanys, they're going to send the Eidolons in. In fact, the Eidolons even going to get there before they expire. They are, so they know that they're doing it, but they're not going to react quick enough and be able to react quick enough. And pings just come out on the tier 1 top. Looks like they're just going to try and take a tier 1 in exchange, but yeah, MiTH, they do manage to find Roshan. Razor picking up the Aegis of the Immortal, and might even be able to defend the top tier 1. Medusa actually a little bit on her own here in the jungle. Earthshaker looks like he's not going to find her, though. He's just going to head back to join the team, and actually, perhaps, no, they're just going to let this tier 1 go. And Arcanys, you know, now being on the aggressive, you know, they've taken a tier 1 mid, and they've taken a tier 1 top, so absolutely even with the tower difference. for this
Really,
point in the game. Yeah.
that's the weakness and kind of strength that we see from Arcanys. They have very cyclical heroes in that they will be powerful, very powerful sometimes. And when they're not at their power levels, MiTH are going to be able to take objectives, i.e. Roshan that we just saw. But when they do have their ultimates, the Ravage is now up. Global Silence is up as well. Black Hole not up quite yet, but when those are all up, MiTH Trust, they really can't take objectives. They're going to be on almost purely the defensive. They're going to try to get in once again under the cooldowns because they do have an Aegis. This is going to be maybe enough to kill off this tower fortification. We'll deny it for now. Arcanys, if they all teleported right now, they could crush the kills and everyone else behind MiTH, but instead, they're going to go for the top lane kill. Ancient Apparition is there, and he is a very easy one to crack, especially since Enigma has a blink, is going to run straight into SD. There's the Malphite stun, there's Bach, and there's a Global Silence. Okay, well, they got him.
No, after all that, he actually gets the Ice Blast out in the end, but yeah, Global Silence is a little unnecessary. Oh, here we go. He's going to be able to cancel the TP. Yes, he is. They're going to be able to claim a Scarf Mage off the back of it. So, supports for support. It's a pretty fairly even trade. I think let's have a look at the fight recap. Who got the better edge of that? It was, in fact, Arcanys. Actually, they got the better XP change and gold change. Only slightly, though. But they did expend a Global Silence for that one, and I mean that's got a pretty hefty cooldown. Yeah, it's a good 2-minute wait until they're really ready to initiate again, or prepare themselves for initiation from MiTH.
Yeah, as long as they have one AoE ultimate up though, then they should be fine to take fights, or at least dissuade MiTH from going for pushes. Just knowing that the Ravage is up is pretty intimidating, so they're going to hold on to that cooldown, and Black Hole is also up, kind of secondary to the Ravage, but just that in itself is going to mean that MiTH are going to be playing a little bit more safe, and they might try to go for the pushes because, again, they do have an Aegis, which is very important versus team comps that do have this very high damage, very high cooldown kind of strategy going. If you could withstand that and then use your Aegis and then pop right back up with the BKB, usually you can get something done. That's going to be what MiTH are going to try to do right now. This is walking into a Ravage, walking into a Black Hole, but if they get the initiation on their terms, then they could take this fight pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're looking to try and put pressure on us. Razor gives the tower a little bit of a tickle. Ice Blast going to come in, trying to hold back Arcanys for the time being. They look for a Who Stomp. That's going to miss it. And they're looking for 4-star from the Stampede just to disengage. But that's going to be the Stampede off and the Stampede out of this. It's going to get popped by the Enigma. Keep the Eidolons alive and to defend the push a little bit more. Razor very close though to level 16, and this Razor's incredibly farmed. I mean, he has got the BKB, the treads, he's sitting at the top of the net worth board, and he's only 150 gold away from finishing off that Aghanim Scepter as well. And with that, I mean, that is going to be kind of like the last peak for me. That is the time that they need to push. They need to find these structures. Because, oh, here we go, Ravage blinks in, Enigma's there as well, there's Global Silence of the Black Hole. Actually, the 4-star, what, he's still channeling, hang on, what's going on there? But here we go, tied in and blinking in, trying to find the kill on the Earthshaker. Earthshaker's going to go down, Razor trying to man-fight it up, has got the Aegis, but at the same time, Razor, Rubik blinking out as well as he there backing off. Potter's straight away ready to turn back into the fight. AA's joining in, he's got the Ice Blast, what, 10 seconds, but he has got any mana for it. And here we go, the damage coming down on Hyrule, he's getting very, very low. They're going to be able to bring down the Silencer. Yes, they are. They brought down the Enigma as well. The Kel's just storming away, hitting away. The amount of damage he's stolen is incredible. 224 at the moment from Static Link. And now with that, they should be able to take this tier 2. And, well, surprisingly, MiTH, they're finding these team fights and they're coming out on top.
Aegis of the Immortal and just keeping your Razor safe is really showing the strength and weakness once again of Arcanys. They're going to try to go for this tower deny. Warstaff's going to keep the Tidehunter safe, and MiTH, they survived the onslaught. Really, that's what they have to do. Oh, Medusa, please don't say you're going to die to a tower solo. That would be embarrassing. She has to worry about an Ice Blast potentially, but she will TP back to the base and she'll be just fine. Although an Ice Blast is coming, is that Aghanim? It's not. It's not going to be lethal, but it's sure as hell going to be close for both these heroes. Yeah, they're going to be fine, but Arcanys, they pop all of their ultimates and they get the kills that they were aiming for, and that's exactly what their ultimates are supposed to do. But if it's only 2 heroes, that's just not good enough. They need to get more, or at the very least have some follow-up after their ultimates. But unfortunately, Medusa wasn't there. She was taking a tier 2 mid tower, which is, I suppose, worthwhile, but they need someone else to provide some sort of damage outside of those big AoE ultimates. And Medusa is going to be the hero. Silencer was not able to cut it, and now they're going to try to go for MyPro. who's jungling. He's going to get double Malphite stunned, and now the damage from Silencer is going to flow. Not quite enough to kill off MyPro. Here comes the Centaur. He'll stomp onto Bombax, and now the damage is going to flow back onto the Enigma. Ice Blast, however, missed, so getting this kill with just Centaur is going to be a little bit not feasible, but either way, MiTH, they have to worry about the cooldowns once again. 25 seconds until the Ravage. Global Silence is going to be up shortly. Another minute and a quarter until Enigma has his, so Black Hole they don't have to worry about, especially if they kill him off, and they're going to find him. Lift him up, Fade Bolt, Global Silence is forced out. Is that going to be enough to save the Enigma? I don't think it is. There's a Force Staff Hoof Stomp. Actually, there's no Hoof Stomp on Centaur. I don't know what he stomped, but it certainly wasn't the Enigma. They're going to try to chase this one forward with the Urn Charge. It looks like that will be lethal. Now they're going to change their attention towards Heinrich, who's going to just go to town on the Centaur. That's another +2 intelligence for him. Now he's going to try to go for Gotcha. Is this going to be another +4 intelligence? It is. Heinrich is the winner of this fight.
Oh, meanwhile, also Medusa picking up a kill on the bottom lane. And here's where Arcanys, even with the Silencer, we're talking about not being the best kind of late game carry, but mainly just down to the fact that, you know, if you kite him and you control him and lock him down, he's not the tankiest of heroes, and he's very squishy. He's got pretty low base armor, but he can pack an absolute punch. And, you know, as you're saying, you know, Centaur coming back into the fight without Hoof Stomp, and just the Rubik as well, who's very low on mana, you know, Silencer can just hit away at them, and the amount of intelligence he has stolen is pretty ridiculous at this point in the game. 26 is very nice indeed, and he's very close to picking up the Aghanim Scepter as well. He's only about 950 gold away from that. So, I mean, some big items coming out from Arcanys. I mean, MiTH, obviously, with this Razor, we've seen the strength of it. He has got the Aghanim's finish. He's also sitting on 2.7k gold. But they do need to be taking these fights. I mean, now is a brilliant time to take the fights because, you know, you've got this Razor with 15k net worth against the Medusa, who's only on 11 and has only got the Manta Style as her first big major item. So, not a huge damage item, just a extra little bit more survivability, a little bit of split push capabilities as well, but nowhere near enough to really kind of deal with the whole side of MiTH in these big team fight engagements, which is obviously kind of why we've seen the Medusa dodge these fights and just looking to catch up on farm, trying to close the gap on the Razor. But it is going to be a little bit of a while before she's able to get her net worth on the same level as this Razor has reached. But as soon as that gap is closed, it's going to be hard for MiTH to get the Razor back on top in terms of farm. And this really is the window that they need to make something happen in.
They have the Aghanim Scepter BKB on the Razor, and as you said, that is peak of power. And unless they get, you know, 5-man Echo Slam, 5-man Ice Blast, the huge womboist of combos, they're not going to get much stronger right now. They're going to try to go for Bach. However, Force Staff Reed, he's going to blink out, but he gets Hoof Stomp regardless. Now the Fissure and the Ice Blast is a nice clean kill on the Tidehunter. Global Silence being forced out a little bit too late again from Heinrich. They're going to lose their Tidehunter, but it's not going to be for free, as they're going to try to go for this bottom lane tier 2. At the same time, top lane tier 2 is being pushed. MiTH, where is their Razor? He's the one to teleport back, actually. I think that's a mistake. They need this Razor to push towers. Otherwise, Arcanys are just going to wait the 40 seconds because Medusa's farming, Silencer is farming, and they're just turtling up. And MiTH, they're not able to break this shell. I mean, they need to get into the base. They need to start taking Raxes right now because their team has peaked.
Yeah, I think you're right with that call there. Razor should have stuck around because he would have been able to clear out that tower, at least do a hefty bit of damage. But even the supports to chip away at it wasn't the best idea, and there was nothing really had to back off away from. I mean, I guess he's trying to find farm. What's he go for as his next big item? He's picked up the Reaver. He's going to tank up a little bit, and now we see a bit of a fight. Enigma caught out a little bit in the jungle here. Silencer trying to do his best with the Scarf to keep MiTH at bay, but it's not going to be enough. He comes in with a double edge, and they do clear down Enigma. And in fact, Lakel's might be going deeper for more. He has got the BKB available. Of course, this Aghanim Scepter, level 16 ult, doing a hell of a lot of damage. Ice Blast is going to connect perfectly with Heinrich. He's going to silence up Lakel's, but it doesn't matter. He's got a BKB, and that's kind of where Silencer's shortfall is. You know, BKB up, and then the Silencer's got absolutely nothing to pit against you. And that's going to be 2 heroes down on the side of Arcanys, and well, potentially a tower. And the ping's coming out. Looks like MiTH, again, they're just not going to look to push it. Just a little bit too aware that the Tidehunter, you know, has got the Ravage and has got the Blink. And Razor not wanting to be caught out by that quite yet. And perhaps we just play a little bit more safely until he completes off his heart.
And that's going to be Razor, who's almost unkillable by Arcanys until the Medusa, rather, decides to actually start playing this game and, you know, stops farming, which I don't think is going to happen for quite a while. MiTH, they take a decent team fight, knowing that the Global Silence is down. They catch a nice timing there, but again, they didn't take any towers. They put a little bit of damage onto the tier 2, not that substantial. They're going to try to go again, and this is exactly what they need to do, but right now they're fighting back into a Ravage and a Black Hole. So although this is a good idea on paper, it's incredibly risky. Their execution needs to be perfect because Tide is waiting around. He's going to Anchor Smash, Gush Lakel's. They're going to jump with the Enigma as well. He's going to jump in instantly. Global Silence, however. Lakel's going to buff that one out immediately with the BKB. But that's going to force out the BKB on Razor. Now it's going to be time for Arcanys to reinitiate. Plus, they have their Medusa, who's not even in this fight. She's split pushing. And MiTH, they only get a tier 2 tower out of all of this.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, this Medusa build-wise, she's picked up an ultimate orb after the Mantis, so it looks like she's going to go for the Skadi. I mean, Skadi's a great item, but I still feel that even with just the Skadi, she's not going to be able to hit hard enough. To deal with the team, and, well, without a doubt, she's not going to be able to even put a dent in this Razor, you know, who at the same time is almost certainly going to have his Heart of Tarask finished. I mean, it just feels like the Medusa still needs to go quite a while until she's really able to ensure that these team fights go the way of Arcanys every time.
And that's pretty much their game plan. Like, Skadi is one of those items that is more survivability than aggressive, so it's not going to help her kill things really, but right now until she gets another damage item. But that's fine for Arcanys because they don't have any plans on aggressively pushing towards MiTH and trying to win the game. Yeah. They'll take towers because they have the Ravage and the Global Silence right now, so they're more powerful right now. But this isn't part of their lasting game plan. They're going to hit with an Ice Blast, but they will take the tower with everyone else behind them. If they get into a team fight, then they're going to try to take Raxus straight after. But Medusa's going to back off. She just wants more farm, and she knows that if this game lasts for another 20, 30 minutes, she will be the most devastating hero on the map, no questions asked. And that's going to be Arcanys' goal. They're going to drag this one out, and MiTH, I don't think they could actually stop this from happening.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we can look at how great MiTH's position is now, you know, the fact that they are leading in terms of kills, you know, they have been fighting the pushes, but the reality is, you know, if they don't shut this game down, I mean, within the next 10 minutes at maximum, you're right. Medusa is just going to be able to safely farm, you know, with the Skadi, as you said. Not the best defensive item, but in terms of defensiveness and just basic stats, it's going to help her keep herself alive and be a little bit more risky with these split pushes, finding the farm a little bit quicker. And yeah, she's slowly and surely going to come online. And unless MiTH find an amazing breakthrough team fight, which, as you say, it's going to be so hard because they have so many good, strong team fight heroes on the side of Arcanys as well. And it is definitely getting to the point where the Medusa picks playing off mid lane, the Centaur going in with the Earthshaker. And they do kill the Silencer. Not quite sure what the Silencer was doing there on his own.
Feeling a little bit too comfortable perhaps with his stage in the game, and that's a minute opening for MiTH Trust to do something, but again, can they? He is going to get slowed down by quite a bit. Look at the Medusa dish. It's not going to be enough to kill off the Centaur. In fact, it's just going to be short, but that's fine. They don't have to get these kills as long as they're keeping the MiTH Trust out of their side of the map. Arcanys are going to be fine with it. They have to worry about this top push potentially. Lakel's going to run straight into this Medusa. However, there's no static link available, and Medusa should be able to just turn around and fight this one. Instead, he's going to pop the Stone Gaze. Here comes an Ice Splash. He's going to try to turn into stone. It is going to work, in fact. Lakel's going to take the extra physical. Now Black Hold up. No Mystic Flare just yet because he's Stone 4, but they're going to drop it now, and that's going to be the death of the Razor. And without the Razor, MiTH, they cannot push. And I think Arcanys, they actually might be looking for a push themselves. The Tidehunter needs more health, and then after that, they could go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see. I mean, this okay. I'll kind of eat my word. The Skadi is doing more than enough. They've killed a Razor. They killed a Ruby. I mean, albeit they did need to throw a lot of that Razor. You know, a lot of ults were popped from Black Hole, Stone Gaze. But yeah, we're starting to see Arcanys pretty much show the team of MiTH that what MiTH has is just not acceptable this late into the game. And yeah, it kind of feels it might be a slow snowball in favour of Arcanys, but it's going to take its time, but it's going to be very hard for MiTH to fight against now.
Taking Roshan, though Arcanys have a fantastic Roshan team, or fighting in the Roshan pit, they don't actually have that many great tools at killing him off when they have to worry about Ice Blast. They're going to try to go for it anyway, and there is a Centaur waiting in the wings. This is a hero that is pretty capable of stealing Roshan's if he gets a chance, but with the Haste Rune, Tidehunter, and Enigma jumping in, they're going to Global Silence and Ravage. However, the BKB does come up from the Centaur, and he's going to be able to slip away. The Earthshaker not as lucky. He now is going to get Ravage. However, it's only going to catch onto SD. That was a pretty bad one. Now stolen by Rubik. Going to throw the Ravage. Again, only going to catch one hero. Bad Ravages for everyone. Heinrichs is going to get thrown back into HeHe, taking quite a bit of damage, and he will go down. The Silencer desperately needs a BKB. Bog with the rest of his Haste Rune is going to escape. The rest of the team in the meantime just getting the hell out of there. Did they take Roshan? They did. with now Aegis on the Medusa. They got what they came for. They take a Earthshaker for Silencer trade. Not the best, but again, MiTH Trust, they can't push, so it doesn't really matter in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, an even trade is a trade that's in favour of Arcanys, really. Especially with your Medusa not dying and being able to find a Roshan. And that Enigma? Looks like an Ice Blast was nicely on point and picked him off in his base. Enigma's going to be a little bit annoyed with that one. And, well, in fact, this is going to be a little bit of a window for MiTH to push down the mid lane. But at the same time, you know, Medusa has got that TP scroll ready and she'll be there straight away as soon as any aggression appears on the rack side, imagine.
This is actually an opening, a pretty big one for MiTH. They have to worry about the Aegis for sure, but there are no ultimates from Arcanys, and Razor will have his ultimate in, well, just a short second. So Pride Butterflies is all alone right now to defend. The Medusa has now arrived with Stone Gaze. Is she powerful enough to force all these MiTH heroes back? She's going to get jumped upon. Move Stomp Double Edge. Mystic Flare is going to dissuade them from going in further. Medusa's going to quickly lose all her mana pool, but she does have the Stone Gaze out. Lakel's trying to get away from the stone. It will not work. Still the Eye of the Storm is ticking, though. Medusa's dropping fairly low. Here comes the Centaur from the back end. No, it's actually going to be the Silencer, rather. He's going to get himself out of harm's way. MiTH have a big opening where Arcanys don't have any of their ultimates, but at this stage, it might be too late. Medusa is big enough to single-handedly carry this team without the team fight ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, they popped the Medusa's Aegis, but that was about it, really, with that fight. And, yeah, Arcanys has proven that they are going to be able to defend against this. Enigma a little bit far out, as there is a Razor and a Shaker that could look to blink back in, but the rest of his team backing him up now. And perhaps this is when Arcanys start to go a little bit more aggressive themselves, you know, put their foot on the pedal a little bit harder now that they're feeling a little bit competent. And I mean, Silencer, what's he got now? So obviously he has finished his Agonyms, and he's sitting on 1,300 gold at this point in time. Ping's coming out, and they do have this ward here being spotted out by the courier, doing a nice bit of de-warding practice there. And Scarif has, of course, got a gem on him now as well, so Arcanys trying to regain map control and ensure that MiTH have nowhere to hide. And,
they do have a Refresher Orb completed on the Tidehunter now, so double ultimates. I don't know if that's completely necessary. It might just be one Ravage used and then Refresher Orb later on to make sure that he has another Ravage for a later fight. That could be a better way of approaching this game, but it doesn't really matter since double Ravages are online, and we'll see if the Rubik can steal any of those. Now that the Rubik has a BKB and Blink, has actually stolen the level 3 Ravage and has held on to it, so he does have that one available, and MiTH, they should know about this. MyPro's in quite a dangerous position, though. If Boombax decides to go over these trees, no, it's not going to happen. There's the Global Silence. He's going to buff it out immediately with the BKB. Now they're going to try to go for the Tidehunter, but he's way too tanky. There's a jump in with the Ravage onto everyone, plus the Echo Slam from the Earthshaker. The Black Hole, rather, is going to catch quite a few, and it's actually not going to do that much, actually, as Savior Avi is in the middle of everyone, going to try to kill everyone at the exact same time. Will kill off SD shortly, but the rest of her team actually still alive, clean with the rest of MiTH. It's way too early in the day. I need to drink more water or something, but hell, it's MiTH Trust losing 5 heroes in exchange for just the Tidehunter off of a fantastic initiation from the Rubik and Shaker. It just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it was looked alright for MiTH. I mean, Rubik had a lovely steal of the Black Hole, and he caught a fair few of Arcanys and got it off a fair bit. And brought them very, very low, but yeah, Medusa's kind of bordering on ridiculous now at this point. And yeah, good luck killing her. There's 5 to come out from Razor and AA, but I mean, Medusa is pretty darn tanky, and she's got enough to finish off a Butterfly, and in fact that might be what's on the courier. Nah, it's not on the courier as of yet, but she has got the money to finish that off if she chooses to spend her money as such. But yeah, it's fights like this that are making it very apparent that MiTH, they're in a whole lot of trouble now.
What could they do to get themselves out of this trouble? Honestly, I'm not too sure. I mean, that's pretty much the best initiation you could ask for. Jumping in, hitting that many people with that many ultimates, stolen ultimates, in fact. But Black Hole came out, Global Silence was used as well. Ravage from Tidehunter actually has both still, so he didn't get a single one off yet. Despite that, the Medusa with the Fresh Eagle Song was doing so much damage, and the Razor, he has to static link the Medusa at the bare minimum in these fights. Then maybe they'll have a fighting chance, but I don't know. MiTH, they're just very quickly losing control of this game. Have they actually lost control of this game? Yes, they have in experience, and gold is now in favor of Arcanys. They've turtled up for long enough, and now the Medusa, well, she still has a couple of item slots to fill. In fact, 3 slots to fill, in fact. So she's going to be continuing farming, and there's no reason for her to do anything else. It's going to be Butterfly finish for her, so maybe now it's just 2 items to fill.
Alright, yeah, so she has spent that money up. She's picked up that butterfly and... Well, yeah, I mean, there's not going to be anything in terms of physical damage to go for that evasion. Obviously, the Razor with the Storm. But other than that, there's not going to be anyone who's going to be able to right-click down this Medusa at all. And she's just so tanky and so fun. He's sitting at 21k net worth at the moment. And we were talking about earlier how the Razor had about 5k lead. Well, that's totally gone, done and dusted. You know, now it's this Medusa sitting at about 4k advantage. And as we're saying, there's pretty much going to be nowhere that this Razor's going to close that gap and see the sunny side of the top of the net worth board anytime soon this game. It's going to be, yeah, I mean, unless MiTH pulls something off amazing, this game's not going to go any other way other than Arcanys'. They are looking to smoke up for the time being. MiTH, as they're looking to find a pick-off. All ults online on both sides apart from the Black Hole for Enigma. Just like MiTH, they're not going to be able to find anything there, unfortunately. The smoke is about to wear out, and in fact, they might get themselves caught in a very tricky position as it's going to wear out just as Arcanys close the gap. Now in the tree line. Both teams have not actually spotted each other as of yet. There we go then. The Razor, he's going to be seen. Well, it took their time to initiate, but now here we go. Ravage, first one comes through, second one comes through. They're actually bursting down the Razor pretty quick, and now with your Razor down, what do you do when you have the lineup of MiTH? You just run, and that's not going to save you as 3 heroes go down. Only the Earthshaker and the AA get out, and Razor realizes the error in the draft, and the fact that they've let the game go to 43 minutes. GG's out, and Arcanys will take the first game of this 2-game series. Well, Mike, ended up exactly how we thought. Oh, okay, mine's left. Bradley, people are blowing leaves outside his place, so it's loud. So Mike, thanks for that. Talking to no one here. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first game of 2. We're going to be very quickly back into the second game, so don't you go anywhere. You, of course, were joined by me, ODPixel. You can find me over at twitch.tv/ODPixel. And also, obviously, on Twitter, twitter.com/ODPixel. So be sure to follow me there if you're enjoying the cast. And I hope to catch you guys on future casts and future streams as well. But anyway, if you're not going anywhere, we will be back very shortly in a few minutes as we'll cut to a quick break, play some music, give you a few ads for you to enjoy, and we'll see you in a few minutes for the second game of the 2-game series between Arcanys and MiTH Trust. Catch you, ladies and gentlemen, in a minute.